Off-Broadway initially is defined by what it is not. It is not Broadway. So under that umbrella known as Off-Broadway are any venue from you and me putting on a play for our mother to a commercial production of a certain size, not quite as big as Broadway.
The first production I had here was done at the gas station, which is a bar on Avenue B and 2nd Street. I walked in the bar, hung out with the guys who tended the bar, and said, "Hey guys, what if could I do my play here?" Which was probably a ridiculous question because it was a bar. And they said, "Sure."
I had been doing plays at a showcase theater by myself, I would say producing them myself, but there was no producer. I paid for rehearsal space out of money that I earned while working at Barney's, and my friends were in them, and we built the sets. Every Sunday night we would show up and build the set. We would have tech on Monday, and we'd have to open on Tuesday, and they were like 90 seats, and maybe 3 or 4 people came to see the plays.
We used to put together banquet tables and clamp the banquet tables together in Harlem, take them off the back of a truck, clamp 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, I think, together. And that was our stage,
The garage was the first theater space. There were other performing spaces for happenings, but the first theater space. And that community began to form there.
There was an audience that wanted to hear basically a countercultural statement of a certain kind. The one that we were making. We felt that we were talking to somebody, that they were talking back to us, that there was a feedback loop, that this energy was constantly in motion.
Most of the great artists in the world have always struggled to change the world, to transform it, to transform people's minds, to transform the society, and to make human beings better.
You really have to think of yourself as an artist with a lifetime of work ahead, and that it's finally the shape of the entire life, and it's the shape of the entire body of work that matters. If you grow up in New York in the theater world, you know who Richard Foreman is. I think he'd hate to think of himself this way, but he's sort of an institution by now. A lot of other people who have been doing this sort of work for so long have fallen by the wayside, and he's still there. He's still working, he's still doing his work.
He's an auteur in the true sense of the word, in that he writes his plays and he designs his sets and he does all of the lighting. It really is one person's vision that everyone is trying to figure out how to create.
From O'Neill to Arthur Miller to Richard Foreman is the history of serious theater that I know about in this country. I had moved to New York in 1975, and I was learning a lot about the theater. And what I was learning was that the theater was moribund. And in that fall of 1975, I saw Rhoda in Potato Land and just said, this is it. This is the stuff. This is so much more alive, more immediate, louder, nastier, crazier, smarter than anything else I was seeing.
This play is called The Universe, and it's a very light-hearted way of expressing a pessimistic, almost nihilistic point of view, which I think is kind of wonderful and liberating. Instead of having all this agony about trying to hold on to something or like not being able to achieve a certain nobility in life or something like that, he's basically laughing and saying, nothing means anything, we're all gonna die. Everything that you achieve is going to be taken away from you.
Give up, please.
I do give up.
You haven't given up.
Have you?
I don't think it's something you can do on purpose.
Please, touch me.
The basic human condition is that human beings are broken people, are sort of transitional objects. And so all my plays express that, and the anguish of that, but the necessity to accept that and not be too freaked out.
Basically, this is about James, who essentially sees Mary and feels such a upheaval in his heart. He can't stand looking at her, and eventually he gouges out his eyes so that he doesn't have to look at her anymore because he feels so passionate about it. That's the central metaphor, sort of. At the beginning, I'm the only one really that has any responsibility. You know, I'm performing for the first 3 weeks because we're trying to figure out what to do. So, you know, we just slog through this. Let's try it from James. You retract and run backwards and you meet each other here. You fall into each other's arms. Look, and Mary, run back to this wall. And James, back up a little and then go for security to hang out on the table.
I don't collaborate very much. I've always thought art was interesting, at least art in the 20th century. It's representing a human being seeing the world from a particular spot. So it's got to be my spot. And I've never found collaboration rewarding because nobody else seems to be interested in what I'm interested in. At least nobody I've ever worked with. So the ideas they have may be interesting ideas, but they don't really serve my obsessive vision. Dead, dead, dead. Yeah, you're going to do exercises. Dead, 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 dead.
He works totally impulsively. You know, everything changes day by day. I mean, our blocking changes, our scenes change. I mean, all of the elements change. One day we were in rehearsal and we were working on this dance. We were all squatting and, you know, doing, you know, all these sort of downtown actors doing our big dance production.
No, this is no good. No good. Forget it. Play the music loud again.
And he changed it, I mean, that day. I mean, he decided that he was going to have us do more of a group thing where we were pulling this table back and forth, and it was all very dramatic. But it did work better.
Dead, 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 dead.
I don't think any other director stages and completely changes everything before you've even gone to the second half of rehearsal. I mean, every detail completely thrown out, changed. That's the nature of his work. He's doing his own investigation into what he's doing.
It's like playing, just feeling that you can play. Try this, try that. Let's have them move around this way, that way, so that it seems to support the text in the proper way.
Hold it! Hold it! All right, I don't like all this beginning. I wonder if...
My goals for the future have never changed. I mean, there's something to be understood. There's something to be resolved that I want to understand and resolve. And I've been trying to do it in terms of the theater. Now, if I could think of another way that would do it better, I'd do it some other way. But that's all. I just want to keep chewing on that same problem.
It doesn't seem weird at all.
That could be a particular perspective.
Exactly. That could be my perspective.
When you walk into a theater in New York, whether it's this theater or that theater or wherever, there's a feeling you get, that there are a lot of people working very hard to make something beautiful and meaningful.
I would say that it is not uncommon for a play done in a 50-seat house in New York to end up influencing things all over the world.
As theater becomes a consumer product and becomes an expensive product, there's some desire on the part of a lot of people to do something really cheap, do something that you can do anywhere.
What happens here at Dixon Place is mostly providing a home for performing and literary artists, a safe, supportive, nurturing environment to develop their new work.
Ellie is starting in her living room and saying, what could be put on in my own home that I would need to see to help me understand the world that I'm living in?
Hello, Dixon Place. It's at 7:30 and the door opens at 7 o'clock. Okay, welcome to Dixon Place. People come here from all the boroughs, and they come in and they go, "Oh my God, does someone live here?" And then, I have to say, yes. And they go, "Wow, this is great."
How much is it? $5.
Worth every penny. They can't believe that someone is doing this in their home and that they're opening up their home to the general public. And sometimes I can't believe it either.
The performers are committed to honesty, and when they honestly examine their souls, they find the ridiculous in there.
I'm right where I want to be, except I'd like to get paid. Apart from that, I have all the privileges. I have images, I have desires, I have thoughts, I have poems in my heart. I get out there and I do them. How much better than that does it get, except getting paid? This car's a real hunk. It's a lot of car. You can see it in the body and you can smell it in the rear.
You never know what you're going to get when you walk the door here. Even if you know who you're going to see, you don't know what you're going to get.
They are the world's foremost lesbian a cappella gospel quartet. And I believe in them more than anything else in the world.
I thank the Lord, and I'm so glad I'm a lesbian.
Nobody is making a lot of money doing it. Nobody's doing it for any other reason than that they have a desperate need to do it. The people who are watching the performance recognize the truth and honesty in that moment, which seems of inestimable value.
Remember how you liked to tell people you were neurotic, even though you didn't really know what neurotic meant. But it sounded mature and sophisticated. It was something you should want to be. More sophisticated than cigarettes, remember?
Sometimes there isn't really a lot of payback. But we do have a lot of nights here that are very magical and very special, and it really comes back then. Come on, Elvis.
There are more interesting writers writing now for the theater than at any point in American history. I mean, that's like completely inarguable.
I believe, as a playwright, before I write the play is already written. It exists already, and my job is to let it happen.
People say, I'd never sell out. Well, most people have never been asked, and you have to wait till you're asked before you know, what I mean? So I can say this, I'll never sell out for a little bit.
I write entirely to sort out who I am, and the theater happens to be the way I stumbled into that.
I always have felt that writing is very much giving myself a lot of sort of structural rules very consciously so that my unconscious can function, because I do find writing largely an unconscious exercise. I actually go into a coma, and about 4 weeks later, jippity crickets, there's a play.
So since Danny's given me a hard time and I gotta prove adultery now, Bobby Trevino says I should have at least 2 witnesses, and I was hoping you could be one.
Of course I will be.
Good. It'll be you and Joan.
Joan said she'd do it?
Well, not yet, but she'll do it. I mean, she saw everything with him and Dottie. What's with you?
Nothing. I think it's great. It's about time.
What are you looking so stunned about?
I mean, it's all happening at once.
Yeah, so?
Nothing.
What about Joan?
Fine. I think it's great.
Slow down.
What?
Why would it be so amazing if Joni was there? Stella?
Don't ask Joan.
Why not?
Just don't.
Stella, what's going on?
Joan would not be a good person.
Because why?
She just wouldn't.
Why?
Laura.
What did Joni do?
What do you think she did?
EST is probably the most communal theater in New York, and people of a wild variety of levels of experience. And it is the premier venue in the United States for the one-act play.
I want you to go to war, sir.
War? What sort of war?
A military sort of war.
We had a deal.
A deal, huh?
A done deal.
An opportunity missed. The hand not shaken, the back unscratched.
Honor.
Business.
You're me?
The is on the other foot.
Really?
There's always something every day going on here. It's safe to say 250, 300 projects a year here is kind of a normal year.
How about Joe?
You know what I say about Joe?
We started this theater as an alternative, knowing that you can't do new stuff and new plays and expect to compete commercially in the sense everything has to be a hit and a home run. You can't do that if you're doing new plays. You just kill yourself.
I said a lot of things because you asked me, as a friend.
You have some talent, you have an ear for dialogue, and you write a scene and something about it amuses people or moves people, and you're sort of surprised by that if you're a human being.
Were you, just circling the area until you could swoop down like some little galosh-wearing vulture? And what? Feast on my leftovers?
I'm kosher, Gil,
I mean, God!
And then there comes a more analytical stage in which you break it down and say, well, now what did I do? And could I do that again? And what else could I do? And usually about that time, you start to write very badly because your work then becomes intellectual and wooden.
Well, it's weird, I mean, listen to the words. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, a lot of who wants to deal with disappointing a girl like that, We're not talking some bitch whale beast like Cindy.
And then, if you continue to analyze it, you can rediscover your humanity with a new sophistication. And that's called development.
How are you doing, Len?
Oh, well, I'm fine. I'm fine. Not so good. I'm suicidal. I'm suicidal, Gil.
I run in this pastry shop, the Hungarian pastry shop, which is full, it's like a halfway house. It's full of mental cases. And to just sit there and hear what goes on is very inspiring.
And after sex, I do not like to be touched.
Cindy said even during it should be kept to a minimum.
Yeah, well, Cindy was a pig.
Yeah, but she was my pig.
Jamie worked on it with me. We had great actors to do cold readings over and over and over. And each time you hear it, it sounds different.
Yeah, because then it gives you somewhere to go.
It's like on a date, and you find out each date there's something else you don't like about the person. And each time I heard it, we would go and sit down and cut and cut and cut. I think I could not have come up with the same play if I were in my room.
I'll tell you, Len, things might get pretty wacky. I mean, it's not easy breaking a girl's heart,
No, I don't know. I've dreamt about it, but...
Yeah, well, anyway.
I really think that EST is a place that people start, you can begin, you can emerge from here. There's room for that. And there's also room to come home, which is tremendously important, I think, to established artists, that they have some place that they can go and try out their new ideas, where they're not going to be brutalized by the critics.
When they got there, they found my grandfather laid out in the front parlor. He'd been dead for 3 weeks, but the ground was frozen 3 feet down. My father couldn't dig a grave.
It must have been pretty cold in your house.
Now, are you sitting down or standing up at this Sitting point? down.
Sitting.
We're sitting.
I'm just pulling my chair up next to his.
See, what I'm driving at, secretly,
I did Death of a Salesman on Broadway 10 years ago, and one of the things Arthur Miller said to me at the time was that when he was young, you could make a mistake on Broadway. You could have a play on Broadway, it could fail, and you could come back the next season and have another play. Well, there's no room for error now on Broadway. So places like EST exist so that we can make mistakes and have successes and learn and develop and grow as artists.
This one's when he cheated. And this one's when he lied. Yeah. And this one's when he hit me. Oh, and this one's when I cried.
The main interest is giving opportunity, developing these plays, and being really one of the tributaries of the American theater.
People can get together with a script that is written in longhand with a pen that you found in the street, and you can put on a play, and people will always do it, and people will always come to see it. How many may vary, but people will always come. because there is something electric and unforgettable about being there when living people have a living moment happen in front of you on stage.
Well, then I said, you outdid yourself.
If you write something that is really good, it will be done sooner or later. That's just unfailing. I really don't believe that really good plays don't get done somewhere. There is a theater for any good play.
There's always an audience for plays that are plays of ideas. And I think that's a steady audience, you know.
Off-Broadway's role is it's the only place in New York that is looking for different voices. So it's all on you. It's all on the handful of theaters that are off-Broadway theaters.
See, how can I answer something like that? I mean, there are about 4 million reasons, and then there are no reasons at all.
Is stuffing someone else?
Yeah.
Really?
Ah, come on, give me a break, will you?
What is it, Gil? What is it? I really want to know. I need to know.
My mind, my thoughts, all my longing dreams and desires, those you can never constrain, they'll go raging and hunting out into the unknown that I was made for. Ah, no, please!
Hey, son.
Go away. Leave me alone, please. This has to be Tia Juanita's tonterías.
Mari, it's me.
Oh, God, I knew it would happen. I finally lost my mind. Santa Maria, help me. I'm starting to hear voices.
And I think the weather people should be liable for malpractice. Huh? No. You know, how many times have they said, it's gonna be a lovely day today, and you go on a picnic, it be a blizzard in your lunch?
My play, An Epilogue, begins as my soul finds itself in the bardo.
¿Y dónde enterraron a su mamá? Hace 15 días. Lo que pasa es que yo te lo puedo contar mejor que nadie, por esa casualidad que tú todavía no sabes.
All the gifts were mine again, abundantly mine, joyously mine. And on that blustery October morning, I had such a feeling of mastery.
Even the worst torture changes with time. When I can no longer count the days passing,
Hear how the wind begins to whisper. See how the leaves go streaming by. Smell how the velvet rain.
This is a crisis hotline. I need your address.
241 West 21st Street.
That was so painful.
It's a cliche, but the theater is of dreams. And I'm not sure that it ever was a really viable profession.
That's why writers write. They write to save their lives. They write to find things that are crucial and necessary for them to find, without which they have a hard time living.
The New York community of playwrights, den of vipers! Backbiting, backstabbing, weak-willed, slack-jawed.
It takes you a whole year to learn what you learn, helping in one production. And this is what I find today doesn't happen. There are these kids who come out of the universities with they're playwrights. They have a degree in playwriting. They have never made a costume.
We would send somebody running up the street with a gun and have somebody chasing him. Now I think maybe we get shot. But we'd have somebody running up the street with a gun and another guy chasing him, and everybody, you know, we'd try to find out what's happening, and they run in the playground, and we start to play, you know.
It was once upon a time more of a little community, but maybe there is one, and I'm just not invited to the party.
If you enjoyed the show this season, or if you have any comments or suggestions, please call us at 560-ARTS. Your support is vital to our future.
No, I'm just trying to have fun, you know, trying to get my work done, write the next play, you know, that's all.
City Arts is made possible by Dorothy and Louis Cullman, the Lou Esther T. Mertz Charitable Trust, and the Susan and Elihu Rose Foundation. Funding is also provided by the National Endowment for the Arts, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs through the Cultural Challenge Program, Sylvia and Ralph Ablon, and the members of 13.